Hello friends, welcome back. Today we would be learning something very interesting, that is how to automatically create and send salary slips using Google Sheets. So without wasting any time, let's first begin with the demo. So this is my Google Sheet, and if you see, it has all the details like what is the employee ID, employee name, the salary details, whatever things are needed to create the salary slip, those details are provided over here. So when I'll click this button, what will happen is in the background, the salary slips will get created based on the data which is provided over here. And at the same time, the salary slips would be sent over an email to the email IDs which are mentioned in column E over here. So as I said, the first step would be the salary slips will get created. So the salary slips will get created, and here in the Google Drive, I have created a folder called salary slips. The slips will get stored over here in PDF format, and also the same salary slips would be sent to these individuals on this email ID. So without wasting any time, let's click on this button. You could see the script is running. I'll take my focus on this tab. Here is the folder salary slips where the salary slips are getting generated. You could see one by one the salary slips are getting generated in PDF format. So in the Google Sheet, here we have data for 5 employees. So the 5 salary slips will get generated, and I'll also show you in the sent emails, these salary slips have already been sent. You could see these 5 salary slips have been generated over here. And now if I come over here into the sent email, I just refresh it, you could see the salary slip has already been sent as an attachment. I'm just opening this one of the attachment. So this salary slip is for employee with ID 365 Leonard Trot. So if we go back to the sheet, this is the employee at row number 6. You could see the person had worked for 20 days. The basic salary was 6,000. If you just want to cross verify, see the number of days worked is 20. Basic salary is 6,000. So all these things are coming from the data sheet over here, and using this data sheet the salary slip is getting auto generated. So I'm sure my friends in HR who are spending a lot of time creating these salary slips at the end of the month, after using this utility they would be saving a lot of time. So before moving on to the script, I would like to tell you about the prerequisites. Like there are a couple of prerequisites which I'll explain you in detail. The first one is the salary slip template should be available in Google Doc format. Now, what is this template? I'll show you. Now the salary slips which got generated for these employees, all have a specific format, and this format I leave it up to you. Like you will have to create a Google Doc with all the requirements. Like you should have a company name, company logo, and whatever are the headers. Like this is a very simple template which I have created, but depending on the different headers which you are following in your organization should be there in the template. So how to create the template? I have created this simple Google Doc template in this folder, salary slip template. What you have to do is click on this new, select Google Docs, and select a blank document. Once this document will get loaded, here it is a very simple document you must have used, and you have to just create your template. You could insert tables, whatever other things, images, logos. There are a lot of options over here, and you should create one template. So if you want to see my template, this was the template which I created. So when the salary slip is getting generated through the script, it is actually referring to this template and then creating the salary slip. Now, very important things in the template. You should have your company name, logo, everything. And you could see, like, for example, employee ID. This is the header. And here, what is there towards its right? Like, this is the actual employee ID. So when the script would be running, this employee ID underscore XXXX will get replaced with the actual employee ID, which would be coming from column A of our data sheet. Similar to employee ID, we have other fields like employee name, tax identification number, which is the salary month. All these things have been specified in the template. And if you'd see on the left hand side, we have the static values. Like these won't change. Employee name label would not change, but the actual employee name would get picked up from the Google Sheet and would be placed over here when the script would be executed. So make sure whatever fields you have in your template, we have one column each in the Google Sheet. So this Google Sheet has these column headers which I have created based on my knowledge. Your Google Sheet and the salary slip template may have more or less fields depending on the parameters you all use to create the salary slip. So this was the first prerequisite where we need a salary slip template in Google Doc format. The next prerequisite is the data sheet should have the required formulas. Now, this is very important and very easy. For example, there would be some formulas to calculate the taxations and what would be the net payable after the deductions. For example, if I come to column P over here, you could see it is showing it is the summation of N and O. So N is professional tax and O is tax deduction at source. So the total tax would be the summation of these two. So all these kinds of formula should be put in the Google Sheet. We could put these formulas in the script as well, but that will make the script a bit complex. We are trying to avoid all the complications and trying to make the script very simple. So it is just my suggestion. So whatever are the formulas which you are using, put it into your Google Sheet. Another advantage would be if tomorrow some formula changes, you will not have to change your code. You will have to just come over here and update the formula in the sheet and everything will work as is. So these were the prerequisites, and now let's begin with the script. To write the script, you have to go to extension. Earlier, the script part was available within the tools menu. Now a change has been made. Now the app script option is available in the extensions menu. So go to extension, within extension app script, and click on this app script. When you do that, another tab will open up like this, and this is the place where you would be actually writing your code to have the salary slip creation automated. So I have already written the code and I'll explain you all the lines of the code. So when you click on the app script option, when this tab will open up, by default the name of the function will be my function, which you could replace with any name of your choice. I have given the name as create and send sal slips. So this function is ready, and after this curly brace, the actual code begins. So here you could see all the variables have been defined. The variables are nothing, those are very easy. Like we should have one variable for each of the column headers. So you could see employee ID, employee name. We will have these variables for each of the column headers. Here you could see this variable is for employee ID, this is for employee name, so on and so forth. So we should have all the variables. This is the syntax where EMP IDs, all these variables, you could have any name of your choice. Keep the names logical so that it is easy for readability. And I have written equal to with double quotes, which means I'm initializing the variable with blank. Now, all the string variables have been assigned blank, but the numeric variables, for example, basic salary, number of days worked, I have initialized them with 0. Okay, once you have created all the variables, now comes the next part. Now this line of code at line number 25, it is very important. It is telling me that I am actually working on the active spreadsheet. So at this point, this is my spreadsheet. This is my active spreadsheet within which I am writing the code. So the syntax for it is like where name of the variable, you could have any variable name of your choice. I have given sp sheet is equal to spreadsheet app dot get active spreadsheet, which means you now have a handle of this entire spreadsheet. The next line of code at line number 26 tells now I want to read the data, like I am interested the data which is present in the salary details sheet. Now this spreadsheet has only one sheet, but there could be other tabs as well. Like here you have options to add more tabs. So whichever tab from which you want to read the data, you should mention it in the script. In our example, we want to read the data from salary details. So what we have done at line number 26 is we have created another variable called sal sheet, and using the previous variable sp sheet dot get sheet by name and whatever is the name of the sheet. So what this variable is storing is like it this variable has a handle to whatever is available in this salary details sheet. So you will need these two variables. The first variable would be the entire spreadsheet. It would be for the entire spreadsheet. In our case, it is the sp sheet variable. And next would be within this entire spreadsheet, which is the tab I'm interested in. I am interested in salary details tab. So I'm using the sal sheet is equal to sp sheet, which is my entire spreadsheet, dot get sheet by name, and then I'm providing the name of the tab. The name is salary details, as you can. Moving on to the next line of code, if you see the code at line number 28, here we have created a variable named salary details folder. Now, as the name suggests, we are specifying some folder. This folder is the location where the salary slips are actually getting saved. In my case, this is the folder. Salary slips is the folder where I am storing all the salary slips. So in the script, we will have to mention at which folder you want to store your salary slips which are getting generated through the script. So this is the syntax where any variable name of the choice, now this in my case the name of the folder is salary details folder, is equal to, now I'm using drive app dot get folder by id, and now this is this id which is some random alphanumeric string. Now what is this alphanumeric string? That is very important. So if I go back to my salary slips folder, this is the salary slips folder, and if you'll see on the top this url, this URL, the last part of the URL, after this slash, we have some alphanumeric string. This is nothing but the folder ID. So you have to copy this, just the last part of the URL, copy it and paste it over here within the brackets within double inverted quotes. So line number 28, where salary details folder is equal to drive app dot get folder id and the id of the folder. So this variable is actually storing the location where the salary slips are getting stored. So when you create a new folder in your Google Drive, make sure you have the correct id. Just you have to copy it, copy the last part of the URL and paste it within double inverted quotes here. Okay, so we have created the variable for the folder where the salary slips we are getting stored. Next is we have created the template. This is the salary slip template, the Google Doc template which I have created. So all the salary slips which are getting generated at the runtime are using this template. So I should provide a reference of this template in the script as well. So how do we provide that? If we see line number 29 again, where salary template is just a variable name, is equal to drive app dot get file by id. This time I'm not using folder, I'm using get file by id, because this salary slip template is not a folder, it is just a simple file. So here we have to provide the id of the file. So within this template, if I come over here, the last part of the URL, but here you should not use slash edit, just the alphanumeric part. This part which I am highlighting is the ID of the file. You should copy it and place it within double inverted quotes here. So after line number 28 and 29, you have the variable which is storing the details of the folder which would be storing the salary slips, and you have also the reference of the template which you are using to create those salary slips. Next line of the code is very simple. We are just calculating the total number of rows in the sheet. You could see we have created a variable called total rows is equal to sal sheet. Now if you remember, sal sheet is coming from line number 26. This was the variable which we created to refer to the salary details tab. So I'm using sal sheet variable dot get last row. Why I did that? Because I need to create the salary slips for all the employees. So this will give me the total number of rows in the sheet. In our case, we have 6 rows. Our employee details are beginning from row number 2, because row number 1 we have the headers. So we know that in our case, we have total 6 rows, and that is getting stored in this total rows variable. Now I'll use this total rows variables in the for loop. Since I want to create the salary slip one by one for each of the employee, I'm using this for loop. In each iteration, one salary slip will get created. For example, in the first iteration, the salary slip for employee Leonard Walk will get created. In the next iteration, it will get created for Stuart Jackson. So this is the for loop which is iterating from row number 2 to the total number of rows. Row number 1 we are excluding because it has the column headers, it does not have the details. The details are beginning from row number 2. So this is the for loop at line number 35. It is a regular syntax, like it is beginning from row number 2 to the total number of rows, which is 6, and we are incrementing the row number at each iteration. And the next lines of code from line number 37 up to line number 53, those are very simple lines of code. We are just fetching the data. For example, employee ID is coming from the salary details sheet column A. So salary details sheet, which is represented by sal sheet dot get range. Now we are providing the column within double inverted quotes. It is column A, and row number. The row number is getting incremented after each iteration. At the first iteration, its value is 2. So it is picking up the value which is present in A2, which is EXE489. So that is getting stored in employee ID, and each of these variables are getting populated in similar manner. As the for loop will proceed, it will pick up values from each of the rows 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so once the values are populated in all these variables, now comes the very important part where we would be actually creating the salary slip for the employee. Now, for that, we create a variable called raw salary files. First, we will create the raw salary file from the salary slip template. So this is the template using which we would create the raw salary file. So I'm using this salary template dot make copy. Now salary template, if you remember, was the variable representing the actual salary template. So this salary template is being represented with this variable salary template over here, and we are using this variable salary template at line number 55. So using this, we are telling to make a copy and put it in the salary details folder. So once this line of code, line number 55, will get executed, a copy of the file will get created in the destination folder, which is salary slips. It may be a bit complex to understand, so what I'll do, I'll just delete all these files from here and execute this code in debug mode so that you'll be able to understand what is happening exactly at this line of code. So I'm placing my breakpoint over here. So just hover over here and click on that ellipse. So this is a breakpoint, and now click on the debug button. Once I do that, the execution will pause at the place where I have placed the breakpoint, which is line number 56. So since it is at line number 56, the line number 55, which is actually creating a copy of the template, has been executed. So if we go to the salary details folder, which is here, you could see there is one file called copy of salary slip template. If I open it, it is nothing but an exact copy of the salary slip template. So this was the salary slip template, and this is its copy. So at this point, the copy is ready, and whatever changes, whatever customization which we need to do, we will do in this copy so that the template will remain as is. Nothing would happen on the template. Whatever changes we want to do would be done on this copy of the template. So in the next line of code, what we are doing is we are creating another variable called raw file, and this time we are using document app dot open by id. And if you go back to line number 55, what was the variable? Raw sal file. So raw sal file dot get id. In other words, in layman's language, raw file is referring to this file, which is nothing but the copy of the template file. Do not worry about the syntax of this script. This entire script is available on the blog, and I'll share the link of the blog towards the end of the tutorial. So make sure like these lines of code are exactly as is, else it will start creating problems. So the variable raw file at line number 56 is referring to this copy which is created. Okay, now once we have the raw file ready, the next part is we have to read the content of the raw file and update the content of the raw file with the details which are present in the data sheet. So how to do that? Do not worry, it is not difficult at all. So, as I told you, we'll need to read the content. So, in the next line, we have another variable called raw file content, and we are fetching the raw file content from this variable raw file, which is at line number 56 dot get body. So what will happen is the raw file content variable will store this entire stuff which is present in the copy of the template file. So in the memory, it will have all these details: employee ID, employee name, everything is present in the memory of the raw file content variable. So at this point, the raw file content is ready. And now comes the very interesting part from line number 59 to line number 77, where we are using the raw file content and updating the raw file content with the content of the data sheet. So these values, the employee IDs, the employee name, these will get replaced in the raw file content like this. So the syntax is, we are using the raw file content variable dot replace text. Now what I want to replace, so if you see this copy of the template, I want the actual employee ID, not employee ID underscore ID underscore xxxx. I do not want this. I want the actual employee ID. And if you would go back to the script, the actual employee ID is stored in this variable called employee ID. So now at line number 59, we are using raw file content dot replace text. We are using this exact text, employee ID under employee underscore ID underscore xxxx, with the actual employee ID. So when this line of code will get executed in this copy, this part will get replaced with the actual employee ID. So when all the lines of code from line number 59 to 77 will get executed, all the actual values will get replaced, and we'll have the salary slip in the raw format ready. So once that is done, the next thing would be to save it. So if you would come over here at line number 79, here we are saving the file. So for saving the file, we have to use the raw file. So the raw file, the variable we created at line number 56, we are using that variable dot save and close. So this raw file will have the replaced content. So everything from the datasheet will have been transferred into this raw file. Now, since we want to create salary slips, it should not be in a raw Google format. It should be in the PDF format. So at line number 80, if you'd see, we are converting it to a PDF file. So this is a standard syntax to convert the file into the PDF. So we use raw file dot get as mime type dot PDF. So you have to use this and it will get converted into the PDF format. So before proceeding further, what I'll do is to explain you what we have done up till now. So I'll place a breakpoint at line number 80 so that we could see like once the raw file is created, how does it look? And then we'll take it forward and show you like how it converts into a PDF file. So what I'll do at this point is I will close this copy and from the salary slips, this template which got created in the previous debug, I am deleting it. And now I am once again clicking on this debug button. We have to wait for a few seconds. The execution will come at line number 80 and pause. So you could see now the execution has paused. And once again, if we go to the salary slips folder, this template has been generated. And now if I double click and open it, you could see whatever details were there for the row number 2, employee name, employee ID, the number of days, everything that has been picked up and saved into this file. Now still it is not in a, to have it converted into a PDF file. I will continue the execution for that. First I'll close this file. I will come to my script and here on the debug window, like we have this option step over step in. So I'll click on step in once. So the line number of 80 will get executed. If I do another step, now line number 81 is also executed. At this point, line number 80 and 81 are executed. And now if you move back to the folder, you could see over here, this PDF file is generated. If you would see the name of this file, it is salary underscore the ID. Why this ID has come? Because here I'm using this set name I'm using salary underscore and then I'm appending the employee ID. So because of which the employee ID is getting appended and this is the name of the file. So here, if I open the PDF, it is the same file which we had seen earlier, but the format is PDF. PDF is a more professional format for salary slips. So now this salary slip for this employee is completely ready. So with these two lines of code, line number 80 and 81, we have converted the Google Doc file into a PDF file, and also we have renamed it as per our convenience. I have renamed it with salary underscore employee ID. It is up to you, whatever you want to append. If you want to append the month, also the employee name, you could just do it as per your choice. So now, if you see in this salary slips folder, if I close this, there are like this is the PDF which is ready, but we still have the copy of salary slip template. Now I no longer need this since I already have the details in the PDF file. I no longer need the copy of the template. So what I'll do is in the next line of code, which is line number 83, which I'm highlighting, I am removing the raw file. So from where I have to remove, I have to remove from the salary details folder. So I'm using this salary detail folder dot remove file. And what was the file which I want to remove? So it was the raw salary file which I want to remove. So I have passed here the raw salary file. So when this line of code will get executed, this file copy of salary template will no longer be over here and we only have the required PDF file. To demonstrate it, what I'll do once again, I will remove these files from here. Go back to the code. This time I'll place the breakpoint at line number 83. Click on this and now it has stopped at line number 83. If I come over here, do a refresh, you'll see two files, the copy of the template and the PDF file. But now when this line number 83 will get executed, if I do a step in, now line number 83 has been executed. Once again, if I see two files, I just do a refresh. The template has been deleted and now only I have the PDF file, the salary slip in the PDF file format. And next step is we have to email the PDF salary slip to the recipient. So recipient email ID, we have a variable in which we are storing. So this is the EMP email. This is the variable which is storing the email ID, and we have to use this Gmail app dot send mail. So now Gmail app dot send mail, it takes the following parameters. So this is the employee email. So this is the email address. You could see in the debug window. So this is the email address. Uh, Next is the mail subject. So mail subject, here I've created a variable and I have given it a salary slip. So this would be the subject of the email. It is up to you. Whatever you want to write, like salary slip for the month of XYZ, like whatever you want to write, you could put it in the subject. It would be the subject line of the email. Next is the mail body. So here I have just written, please find the salary slip of, now this is the variable. So salary month is coming from the data sheet. Here we have it is as December 21. So in the email body, it would be please find the salary slip of December 21 attached. And the next parameters, like here we have to provide like this syntax. You should be careful while mentioning this syntax. It should be as is. We are writing attachments, then colon, then we have a square bracket. Which file? So it was the sal PDF file. If you remember, line number 81, we had converted into a PDF file and renamed it. So sal PDF dot get us mime type dot PDF because it is in PDF format. So when this line of code will get executed, the email would be sent to the recipient and the salary slip would be in the attachment. You want to see? So once again, if I do a step in, now I am at line number 85. Now I am at line number 86 and now done. So now if I go into the email box, into the sent items, I do a refresh. See this one. You could see the timestamp. This email has been sent at 23:44, 0 minutes ago. and this is 2344. This is for salary E, executive 489. And if you come over here, here also it is the same file. So this PDF file has been sent as an email to the. So this is how we can create and send salary slips in an automated manner using the script which I just shown you. I showed you the execution of just one iteration, but if we have this entire script, and I'll show you where the script is on the blog so that you could refer it. You could directly use it. Maybe like you may have to customize based on the fields which you have, but the entire process of creating and sending salary slips can be automated. So let me first show you where on the blog this is available. So here is the blog. So this is the blog, and here within Google Sheets, you have to come over here, create and send salary slip. You just click over here. The entire code is available over here. You could refer it and create your own automation. One small thing which is pending, that is how to create this kind of a button. For that, you have to come to Insert, go to Drawing. You'll come up on this window, select this option Shape. You'll have multiple shapes. Select a shape which looks like a button. Click over here, so this will come over here. If and using right click, edit text, you have to write anything, like for example send salary slips, and click on save and close. So this button will somewhere appear on the sheet, and then you have to just move it. And now you want, like when you click on this button, this particular script should get executed. So whatever is the name of the function, you have to copy it, come back over here, right click on these three dots. When you do that, you get this option assign a script, and here you have to provide the name of the function, and you click on OK. Now this is good to go. So when this button will be clicked, this entire script will get executed. I showed you the execution in the debug mode for just one row, but here the for loop is absolutely in place, so all the rows of data will get executed, and the salary slips will get generated and sent to the recipients. So if you want to see that, I'm just removing this file which we had earlier generated, and once again I'm over here, click on this. It will take few seconds. You could see the script is running, and in the background in this folder, if we just do a refresh, the files would be generating. You could see the first salary slip has been generated. Now the next one, so on and so forth. All the salary slips will get generated, and also they would be being sent to the recipients. So right now two slips are generated. If I come to the mailbox, see the sent items, you could see the salary slips are being sent. Let me refresh it. See, these emails are being sent just now, and I think so the execution is complete. If I refresh this, okay, so we have the 5 files in the PDF format. The emails are also sent. So this was about how we can automate the process of creating and sending salary slips in an automated manner. Hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you like my videos, I would request you to please subscribe to my channel so that you would be updated with the latest tutorials I would be uploading. Guys, thanks for joining.